Now, let's talk politics with the leader of the Labour Party, Phil Goff, with us this morning. Good morning, Phil.
Good morning, Wammo.
And whereabouts are you this morning?
Oh, I'm at the airport, actually, about to head down to Palmerston North to the Linton military camp for the funeral of Dougie Grant this morning, the SAS member that was killed in Afghanistan just over a week ago. So, going to be a bit of a sad day.
Now, is that a public event, or is this very much a private affair?
No, they've had a private ceremony, and then the SAS did their own ceremony at Rennie Lines. So this is the formal funeral for Dougie Grant. So it'll be with full military honours.
Okay, let's talk some foreign affairs. Last week, some aid organisations came out saying, hey, look, Murray McCulley promised us $1 million to help out with the famine situation in Somalia, and we haven't seen it yet. Quite a delay in getting the money out to Somalia. What do you think's behind that?
Well, I don't know, but it really isn't good enough. I mean, the government announced last week that they're all gung-ho about providing millions and millions of dollars for Libya. Libya's an oil-rich country, and once it gets over its current difficulties, it's going to be a wealthy country. The people in the Horn of Africa, you see those dreadful pictures on television, the children that are like walking skeletons. This is a humanitarian disaster, and I would have thought the government would have wanted to have moved very quickly on that. It's something, I don't know why they've taken so long. But as the aid agency said, every day that you delay, that's more lives that are being lost.
Yeah.
This is not the sort of thing that should have been held up.
But that's also a very good question that you bring up there about Libya. We promised apparently very early on, even before the UN Security Council had even decided what to do there with Libyan money, we promised millions of dollars of so-called aid. I just wonder where that money would actually be going.
Well, that's a very good question as well, because we don't know what the nature of the new regime is going to be. Now, look, I'd be prepared to cooperate in all sorts of ways to make sure that we can try and get a democratic Libya. Probably the most effective of those ways is by taking in people and teaching them about how democratic institutions, etc., work. But dollars, hey, they've got oil dollars that'll be coming out their ears as soon as they get production back underway. So, it just seems to me like the Prime Minister was trying to please somebody else with that decision.
Well, who would he be pleasing, do you think?
Well, I think it'll be part of the NATO alliance and the US that would have said to New Zealand, well, what are you going to do for Libya, sort of thing? And he says, oh, we'll give some millions of dollars. Well,
is it as simple as that?
Well, that's. I mean, I'm not sure how else you read it, Wammo. What else is the explanation?
But what do we get back?
It's not a country where people are starving to death.
What do we get back in return?
Well, I mean, what you'd hope to get back is a stable Libya that had a democratic government that respected human rights. But I don't think you'd do that by throwing millions of dollars at it.
We may get that regardless of whether we put our money in there or not. But what do we get out of NATO and our friendship with America by giving money to Libya?
Oh, I think we're just doing the usual New Zealand thing of trying really hard to please. I think what we should be doing is simply making our own decisions and saying, look, Libya doesn't need money. It needs a period of stability. It needs to get a new government into place. Horn of Africa does need money. People are dying. They're dying as we speak.
But there's no oil there.
No, there's no oil there. And, you have to become, you have to be a bit cynical about what motivates some of these decisions, don't you?
So were those kinds of decisions ever made under a Labour government?
No, we tried really hard to make our own decisions on that. All sorts of suggestions are made to you when you're Minister of Foreign Affairs by the governments you deal with. But we prided ourselves on saying, well, okay, thanks for your suggestion, but we operate according to our own values, and we'll do what we think is right. And we did that over Iraq. We did that over meeting with the Dalai Lama. So regardless of which big power tries to push us in a particular direction, we said, no, we might be a small country, but we're a sovereign country. We're fiercely proud of our independence, and we'll make decisions according to our principles and values.
Are you concerned right now that New Zealand's foreign policy is being drawn up and decided in Washington?
Well, it seems to be decided all over the place. A suggestion is made here, there, and John Key was going to meet the Dalai Lama, for example, until the Chinese government spoke to him, and then suddenly that was off. We were going to do, something about. We were due to withdraw our people out of Afghanistan. A decision was made. A suggestion was made to him, and suddenly we've reversed our position. It's not a sign that we are making our own decisions. And I don't want to go back to the sort of colonial cringe where, New Zealand spoke with an English accent or an American accent or an Australian accent. These are decisions for us to make, and we should make them independently.
Phil Goff, thanks very much for your time this morning.
Okay, thanks very much. Cheers, mate.
See ya. Leader of the Labour Party, Phil Goff, there with